again to all of you. And on the occasion of the 75th Independence Day, I'm really honored that I've been called here to address the very young gathering, and which will ultimately be the future of our nation. And it is very important that if the nation's youth is tapped in the right manner, they will do wonders in the country. With this, I'm Lieutenant Nanagar, and I've been told to give a small motivational lecture for all the young minds. And I'm very happy that I see a lot of young children here. So I'll be giving a small, about 15-20 minutes talk and opportunities what the armed forces offers to many aspirants. And like the principal just mentioned, the present three chiefs are all from KV. In fact, my sister officer is a KV product of Bangalore. And KV product of Bangalore. So in the next 15-20 minutes, I will be giving the entire class about the opportunities. I'll just show you a motivational video for all the students here. Stay with you. Somebody can show on the big screen. I have to address all of you in person, but nevertheless, there's some issues with the pandemic and all that we all have to adjust to certain things. A small presentation I'll give you, and like I said, the video before this was insight into what the armed forces does and what are the opportunities that people have. The plethora of armed services and then the service that they give to the nation. That was just a small gist in a video form. Now I will flash a few slides where I will show you what are the opportunities, as a doctor, as an engineer, as an infantryman, as an armored corps. So there are different avenues that you have in the army. Next. The basic thing is to prevent the class with the career opportunities, like I mentioned in the beginning. Next. Why Indian Army as a career? Indian Army as a career, I would personally feel, not that I am in the armed forces, of course, I've always dreamt from the beginning, from my childhood days, that I should join the armed forces. And being a second generation officer, so that was as it is there in me. And even if that was not there, it is that passion which I already had. And I think somebody who's got the passion will only fit into this organization. It is not just a mere career as such, it is a proper, one has to have the passion. It is a very famous saying, fire in the belly and passion in the heart. So that is what is required for the young students like you to join the armed forces. And part one is, like I said, why army as a career. The Chetwood credo, which every officer, every individual of the armed forces takes, is that the safety, honor, and welfare of the country comes first, always, and every time. And the safety, honor, and the welfare of your men the men you command come next. And your own ease, comfort comes last, always, and every time. So this is the Chetwood credo, and we follow it in true veteran spirit. And this is how our armed forces, at least the Indian Army, the ethos of the Indian Army is such that it is uh, the our own safety comes last. That's the oath that we take, and the country's important the country's safety and security, sovereignty, the country which we protect always comes first. So this is self-explanatory, and this is how the entire, I believe, the organization, any kind of organization in the country should work. Next, please. A small brief on the rank structure. As one gets commissioned in the army, he gets commissioned to a rank of lieutenant. And earlier it used to be second lieutenant. Of course, 1991 they abolished the second lieutenant rank, and thereafter it was the lieutenant rank now. And as you climb higher, our chief, the general who is there, just one single general who is there, he is General Ahmed Nadarme. And presently where I posted, that's RTRAC, the Army Training Command, is headed by a Lieutenant General who is an Army Commander. He is Lieutenant General Raj Shukla. Next. What do you want to become? The armed forces, like I said, it's got a plethora of opportunities. So, like I mentioned, you got doctors, you got engineers, you got infantrymen. So I'll just come first. Next slide. The infantrymen. The infantry is also called the queen of the battle. So we are the first ones to move in and the last ones to move out. And we are the ones who are holding the ground where when there's a conventional war or a non-conventional operation. So we are the men on the ground. And like they say, infantry the ultimate. So that is our motto of the infantry. I am firstly from the 4th Maratha Light Infantry. And I was initially in special forces, and I had a small injury and reverted back to the infantry. The engineers again gives you very good opportunity, who are again our combat support arms, who are there with us all through the battle, and they help in laying of bridges, sending us, keeping the logistics flow in place. So that is the basic work of the engineers. I'm sure many aspirants who would want to become an engineer, why just become a normal engineer? Why just become a civil engineer? So why not join the armed forces and don the uniform and still, have the passion of being an engineer? Next. The signalers or the communication. Now, your entire communication, they have a very important role to play. The signalers, during any conventional or a sub-conventional operation, their role in the armed forces is tremendous. Jamming, counter-jamming of the enemy's intercepts, mobile intercepts, wherein they get vital information about the enemy. And war, conventional, sub-conventional operations is all about real-time information and correct information in the right time, which actually you won half the battle. So that's how their job is. Fantastic group of, a very small group of community, the aviators, but they do a fantastic job. They are the only ones who fly to an altitude of almost 23,000 feet in Siachen Glacier and help us with the logistic supplies, maintaining logistic supplies, and any kind of mental emergency that is caused there. These guys are the ones who are evacuating us and keeping the guys happy. Service Corps. Again, somebody who is again graduate can get into Service Corps. Logistics of any ops, again, like I said, conventional, sub-conventional ops, is very important for the logistic supplies. You just can't go, you can't send somebody hungry, you can't send somebody without clothing. So the logistic supply or the Army Service Corps is, they are responsible for getting the logistic supplies. And we have a good amount of lady officers who are there both in the signals, in the engineers, and in the Army Service Corps. The gunners, they're also called the king of the battle. They're the god of war, so called by them. The big guns, which is their Bofors and the M77 howitzers, which have just come in newly. These guys they were primarily very, very important in the victory of Kargil. You must have seen Bofors, eyes of Steinway, and काफी लोगों ने doctors, जितना वो इतना कम है, तो we are professionals, very noble. And again, I said, why just civil doctors? Why not don the uniform and come inside the organization? And these doctors have been a very great role. Young doctors, I've seen very young doctors left means very brave doctors helping out our patients, carrying out civil aid to civil authorities, and things like your forward post on that, wherein somebody falling sick or somebody has to be evacuated. These guys have done the job. Next. The tankman or the armored corps regiment, which is there, we are the only army in the entire world. We still have the tradition of one horse regiment that's called the President's Bodyguard. You will see the photograph on your left corner, which is a tradition that we maintain to own one cavalry unit. And this is the only regiment which is horse-based and still there with the president. Rest, all other regiments have converted to tanks. You see you see the picture on your left bottom corner, where they've all converted to T90s and the T70s, state-of-the-art machines they have. And they play a very, very important role in the deserts. The entire western borders is now guarded by the armored corps. And the latest development is these guys have moved up to Leh Ladakh. They've got their tanks high up in the high altitude, and they're doing a fantastic job over there. Next. Adventure, you name it and you've got it. Any adventure that you want. I per se am a very adventurous person. I've done my base jumping, I've done parasailing, I've done free falls, I've done static line jumps. So, and there's a lot of things. People have got this white water, there's a lot of things. You will not find this. Even if you find it else in the civil life, you will have to pay a lot to get into all these things. Now here, you name it and you can do whatever you want in this. You just have to fill in a form for your adventure activities and it is there. Next. Foreign assignments. The Indian Army is not just not just doing well in our country, but overseas. We are rated as one of the best armies, and any kind of a conflict, be it in Congo, Sudan, Golan Heights, we are called. And the first ones to be called, it's not the US Army, it's not the British Army, it's the Indian Army which is called to first handle things. Of course, they may be technologically slightly better than us, but that's okay. It's ultimately, technology fails at some point of time. So it's your skills that one has developed, it's your training that one has got, it's your discipline that one has got, which we are preferred till date in any foreign assignments. Sportsmanship. Latest, it was ultimately the army who had to get the gold medal in the ask. We are taught to deliver. When given a task, that's in our blood. We've been told to be given a task, complete karna hi karna, and we go all out to complete it. And the man here, Subedar Neeraj Chopra, did a fantastic job. He got commissioned the Rashtrakuta Rifles, he got trained and rigorous training, he sent abroad for training, and then, with all that support he got from the nation and from the army, he was able to deliver. Next. Aid to civil authority, all those people who serve, all the people who gone to JNK, anywhere else, when the civil administration fails, that's when the army comes in. That's like the last, the Brahmastra, what you call it. That's when we use, and like I said, we are taught to deliver. So this is also a part of our job, aid to civil authority. Next. Where do you want to go? Army, when you join the armed forces, I personally, I'll tell you, I love traveling and I belong to Bangalore. So from Bangalore, I traveled all over. First, when my dad was in the armed forces, then I traveled with him, and now me being in the armed forces, I traveled from north, east, west, south, everywhere. There are hardly any places where I've not traveled. So this is one good opportunity you get to travel. If somebody can guess, you got a Thar desert. I can speak to them. Can they interact back? Yes. No. You got the Thar desert. You got the Havelock Islands. That's beautiful places to go. And you got Sikkim, Gangtok. You got Leh Ladakh. You got the Siachen Glacier, which is the highest battlefield in the world. This, of course, is not Shimla, it is Mussoorie. What the Indian Army has to offer to all of you, all those aspirants who are there. We've got, like I said, it's passion. It's not just about your it's a career sort of thing. Career is there, but then it's the passion and the perks and privilege that you get along with you donning the uniform is your rank pay. You get your DNS allowance. You get a military service pay which no other organization gives. You got field allowances. Field allowances vary from various stages. Like you got if you're in JNP, you got different type of allowance. If you're in Siachen, you got a hefty sum of allowance of almost 51,000 allowance. It's just your high altitude allowance in Siachen. You got your transport allowance, you got your outfit allowance, you got kit maintenance, flying allowance, and technical pay. And like I said, I was the special forces is one thing which I messed up. You got your special forces allowance also in this. And other things like stipend during your training. Now the amount is increased to 56,100. It's like a pocket money. Just imagine you getting 56,000 in your hand every month, and you're getting trained. It's like you've got anything to buy or get. I used to get around somewhere around 8,000 rupees when I got commission, and now the amount is 56,000 after self-pay commission. And access to one of the best clubs in the nation, and food in the form of ration, and food, money in lieu of ration, that also another thing. Encashment up to 300 days, so that's a bonus that you get once you retire. With that much amount, you can claim back. Leave travel concession, that's your LTC, which you can claim. Other concessions are 50% concession on air and 40% concession on your railway travels. And in case you're a body, if you're a guaranteed body, then you get further more concession on that. Then subsidized housing loans, interest rates are quite at a subsidized rate. Next. The best part is the army offers you something called a study leave, which is granted by, as of now, granted by me. I'm in contract. I'm looking after the professional military education to enhance an officer's professional military education career. So we granted 2 years of study leave with full pay packages, and he gets to do any degree he wants. So that specialization, and thereafter he's again absorbed back into the organization with those specific postings and all. Okay, there's one point to miss out. That was the last point. That was your ex-servicemen. Now, the armed forces is something that the armed forces tells you to take care of your community. So we like a small family, a very homogenized family, which we take care of our family members during service and after service. We don't neglect any family member even after the person retires. Now, gateway to the Indian Armed Forces, all those NDA aspirants, all those NDA aspirants have to go through, give the UPSC exam, and thereafter he's got a detailed 5 days of SSB. Now, this 5 days of SSB is common for all the officers of anybody who's joining the armed forces. Goes through a very detailed selection service board process, and this again is a very systematic thing which world over armies are actually wanting to adopt this particular the interview process. Next. I'll come first to the National Defence Academy because most of you would at this age would like to join the National Defence Academy. I was a National Defence Academy aspirant myself. I cleared the exam, but then I could not go for the SSB because my father passed away at that point, right? But then nevertheless I joined the army at a later stage. The next. Education qualification, you're all, I'm sure, the awareness level of children these days are quite high. When I was a student, I had to be told, I was actually spoon-fed. But now I don't think that's a scene. All of you are quite energetic and you're self-sustained to know and to fill in and to make your own career progression. So, I can leave this slide here. Whenever you're back, you have classes. I request the principals whenever they want, they can have a look at it. Next, please. You have the Indian Military Academy. By the way, the National Defence Academy is a tri-services academy. People are trained for Army, Navy, and Air Force. And after that, after 3 years of training at the NDA, then you move on to graduate to IMA. IMA is Military Academy. Indian Military Academy is there in Dehradun, where you have 1.5 years of training. Next. Again, to get into directly to the Indian Military Academy is you'll be a graduate, and you clear your CBSE exam, UPSC exam, and these are the, you have a proper merit list and then the SSB. That process is the same thereafter. Next. We have a technical entry graduate that is there at OTA Gaya, which is newly opened. Earlier it used to be there at Chennai, but now they've peeled off, and all technical entries go to OTA Gaya for a short service, and then of course they can offer permanent commission later. Next. Officer Training Academy, where I've passed out from. Next. You have two separate entries in this. One is the NCC Special Entry Scheme, wherein there are a lot of my postmates who've gotten to this through this scheme. You don't have to give your written exam. You directly go to the interview, you make it, and then thereafter your commission. Next. You have a technical SSC technical entry scheme, which has got a very limited number. However, this number is now shifted to OTA Gaya. So the format is the same for applying. Next, please. You have a SSC, that's a short service commission, non-technical entry, which I am on the non-technical entry since I was a basic biotech graduate. So this is like this. So this is your the same process is the same, but then the way of applying and the the time frame when you're supposed to get your forms, that is all given here. I request whenever you come here, you can have a look at it. Next. You have a legal branch, a JAG branch for all those law aspirants who want to do law and who would have seen that movie Shaurya, if you remember, or if you've seen it. So this is all based on those kind of lawyers over there who are fighting legal cases within the armed forces. Next. We've got Armed Forces Medical College Pune, which is there at Pune, which is one of the most reputed armed forces medical colleges in the entire world. And we've got world over armies, doctors coming and training over here, internees coming and training and passing out from the Armed Forces Medical College Pune. Next. 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 We have a dental corps. Dental corps again is all those dentists who want who are aspiring for a dental corps can join the dental services as well. Next. That is just a short brief on the opportunities. After this, whatever questions.
So during SSB, how to be bold.
How to be bold during an SSB? Is that your question? How to be bold during SSB? Just believe in yourself. Don't have that feeling that I've got lack of confidence. You got to work on everything. Somebody's got a weakness. I had some weaknesses. I overcame the weaknesses. I had to work on them. You can't be like, if I don't work on them, then you will not succeed. So identify your weakness. Very important to is you identify your weakness, and आपने बिल्कुल सही बोला, ठीक है? My weakness is confidence नहीं. So if I don't have confidence, how do I overcome it? I have to be confident, and this is one major criteria that. See, flat foot is something that the army does not accept, but yes, some amount, there's a very small deviation that one accepts. I think that's around 10%, that's the army's acceptable limit. However, you've still got time, you got shoes which are flat foot shoes, so that specially designed so that your degree of the gets better, the flat foot gets better. And otherwise, like I said, there's 10 to 15% is your acceptable limit as of now. So, just
actually, flat foot is for infantry only or for all?
It is for all.
For all, even engineers or
for all. Yes, Shashi, please tell me. Girls को join करना है. You have to be physically fit and mentally strong. and score that basic marks in your thing. ठीक है? And sir, आपके यहाँ पे NCC है? You know, there is a special, like I just mentioned, there is a NCC special entry scheme which is there at OTA Chennai only. So a lot of people get in through that entry as well. आपको कोई written exam देने की जरूरत नहीं है इसमें. आपको just give your interview and then you